Military photographers, what classified moment did you accidentally capture? I was documenting routine training exercises at a classified facility when I accidentally photographed something that shouldn't exist. The assignment seemed straightforward enough. Public affairs wanted shots of soldiers conducting standard desert warfare training for a magazine spread. Nothing sensitive, just basic combat maneuvers in the Nevada Proving Grounds. I was positioned on a ridge overlooking the exercise area, shooting with a telephoto lens to capture wide shots of the mock battlefield. Through my viewfinder, I watched troops advance across the desert terrain, practicing assault tactics on fake enemy positions. That's when I noticed something weird in the distance. Beyond the training area, maybe 2 miles out, there was movement that didn't belong. Strange vehicles that looked nothing like standard military equipment. My photographer instincts kicked in. I zoomed in as far as my lens would go and started shooting. The vehicles were angular, almost triangular, moving in ways that defied physics. No wheels, no visible propulsion, just gliding across the sand. I burned through 3 rolls of film capturing whatever these things were. They moved in perfect formation, made 90-degree turns without slowing down, and at one point, one of them just vanished into thin air. The training exercise wrapped up around 4 p.m. I headed back to base to develop the photos, thinking I'd stumbled onto some new prototype aircraft being tested parallel to our exercise. In the darkroom, as the images appeared in the developer solution, my stomach dropped. These weren't experimental aircraft. These were something else entirely. The photographs showed technology that shouldn't exist, at least not in 1997. I developed every frame, laid them out on the light table, and tried to make sense of what I was seeing. The objects had no visible seams, no traditional aircraft features, and in several shots, they appeared to be defying gravity. By 7 p.m., I was staring at 27 photographs of what could only be described as unidentified flying objects. Clear, undeniable images of craft that belonged in science fiction movies, not military training areas. That's when my commanding officer walked into the darkroom. Colonel Matthews took one look at the photos spread across my table, and his face went white. "Where did you take these?" he demanded. I explained about the training exercise, the telephoto lens, the strange movement in the distance. Matthews gathered up every photograph, every negative, even the contact sheets. "You never saw these," he said. "This film never existed. You were never here today." Within an hour, 2 men in civilian clothes arrived. No introductions, no explanations. They confiscated my cameras, my equipment, even my personal film from other assignments. Searched my quarters, my locker, my car. The next morning, I was transferred to a base in Alaska. No explanation given. My assignment order simply said immediate reassignment due to operational requirements. For 6 months, I photographed supply runs and weather stations in the Arctic. Boring routine work. No classified facilities, no sensitive operations, just ice and cargo planes. When I finally returned to regular duties, my security clearance had been mysteriously upgraded. I could access areas previously off limits, work on projects I'd never qualified for before. Nobody ever mentioned the photographs. My file showed no record of that Nevada assignment. According to official records, I'd been on leave that entire week. But here's the weird part. 3 years later, I was assigned to document a joint training exercise with international allies. Among the foreign military observers was a British photographer who pulled me aside during a break. "You're the American who photographed the craft in Nevada," he said quietly. Turns out he'd been on a similar assignment at a facility in Scotland. Captured images of identical objects, same angular design, same impossible movements. His photos had also disappeared, his assignment erased from records. We compared notes carefully, never putting anything in writing. Both of us had seen the same technology, 3,000 miles apart within months of each other. Over the years, I've met 4 other military photographers with identical stories. Different locations, different years, but always the same result. Photos confiscated, assignments erased, careers quietly redirected. I finished my 20 years without ever seeing those objects again. But I never stopped wondering what we'd accidentally documented. Some experimental program, foreign technology, something else entirely? The official answer is always the same. Weather balloons, atmospheric phenomena, experimental aircraft. But I know what I photographed that day in Nevada.